pants on the ground, looking like a fool with your pants on the ground, with the gold in your mouth, hat turned sideways, pants hit the ground, call yourself a cool cat.
You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
Welcome back to Where You Live. I'm Gene Sullivan, and I'm broadcasting from the True North Painting Studios, and that lovely song was from General Larry Platt. Do you remember that, Chris?
I do. I don't watch the show, but I remember that.
Yes, it was. He was in. What's the name of the show?
American Idol.
American Idol. There he was auditioning with his rendition of his own song, "Pants on the Ground." And how appropriate! We're talking to property owner Steve Moore from Houston, Texas, and he has a new criteria for people saying, look, if you're going to live in our communities, we have a dress code, we have a standard we want to keep up, and we're going to talk with Steve in just a minute. But I'd like you to know that this show is brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency, and Extreme Exteriors. You can count on Extreme Exteriors for expert installation of exterior siding, roofing, soffits, fascia, decks, windows, and more. With their knowledge and experience, they can design the perfect solution to make your home beautiful and energy efficient, saving you maintenance and money for years to come. Give them a call at 763-441-1334 and tell them Gene sent you. It's time now to hear from the Community Associations Institute. The CAI Minute is brought to you by New Concepts Rental Management. Whether you're an accidental landlord or a seasoned investor, New Concepts Rental Management can advise and guide you through every aspect of the business. Give us a call, 952-922-2500.
Are you a volunteer in your homeowner association? Maybe a residential property manager wanting to increase your industry knowledge and obtain professional credentials in property management. Are you a vendor or professional offering services to homeowners and associations or property managers? If you said yes to any one of those questions, then join the Community Association Institute. The CAI is a great organization, helping you be informed and more proficient in your homeowner association board member or property manager role. It's also a great way to network with potential clients. For nearly 40 years, CAI has provided education and resources to volunteer homeowners who govern community associations and the professionals who support them. Visit cai-mn.com to learn more. That's cai-mn.com. The Minnesota chapter of CAI holds monthly managers' luncheons, board member education training, property manager certification training, and much more. It also produces a bi-monthly informative magazine called Minnesota Community Living. Why not join the Community Association Institute today? You can do so online at cai-mn.com and select membership.
We're talking to Steve Moore, who is a property owner of over 5,000 units in the Houston, Texas area. And one of the things that he's come up with is a dress code for the people living in the communities that he owns and manages. And Steve, right before the break, you were telling me that a lot of the people living there have accepted this and are quite pleased with this standard. Is that true?
Yes, sir. For all our Villa Serena properties, we rolled this out, and we actually ended up on the local news unexpectedly. And I said, sure, come on in. Let's ask our residents what they think about this. So without having a chance to edit it, I had a local reporter walking around the property asking them what they think of the dress code. And they got nothing but positive responses. In fact, they said, we've got to find somebody against this. I said, well, go out on the streets. You probably won't find them in here.
Oh, and that was terrible for...
We haven't found any negative.
And that was terrible for people in the news. They want controversy, and if they can't find it, that's terrible for them. Now, you said when you were talking to them that you think that this might be, that you might be on the front edge of a trend. Do you think that that's true?
Yes. Yeah, people don't always realize what they're doing at the time, but at this point I realized I think this is going to be a nationwide trend. I mean, you're calling me from Minnesota, and I'm in Houston, and so I think people, this thing it's sort of been percolating, and I think it's just going to pop open, and people are going to say, yeah, why not? I mean, what are we worried? Are we that worried about being The reason this didn't happen sooner was there was some worry about political correctness or I don't know what. But people's concern for that now is way lower than their concern about having respect for human decency.
And I want to talk to you about that in a moment. Now, as for a trend, you're right. One of the things after I heard about this story, two other things that came up if you start searching on the internet, there's a McDonald's that has a standard like that in the Texas, in the Houston area. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir. What we heard is that there's two McDonald's, only two, that within a day of us instituted the same policy: pull up your pants or stay off the property.
Yeah. And that's for being able to go in and to be served at McDonald's. I also found out there's a city council member from Dallas City. Where's Dallas City from where you are?
If you mean the city of Dallas, we all know where that is. I don't think there's any Dallas City other than Dallas.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe that, I thought maybe that was it. But anyway, one of the city council members, Dwayne Caraway, is also an avid person who wants to see people stop being so sloppy. He wants to see things instituted in his city too with dress codes. I don't know how he's going to do that. Now, up here in Minnesota, we've got this thick Norwegian accent and heritage. And I remember one of my good friends that I went to college with, her mom came from Norway. She couldn't say sloppy bum. She always called them sloppy booms. And so you are getting rid of all the slappy booms on the property, and you're just saying, hey, when you're outside, you need to do this. Now you have other things that you have instituted with your policies. You have a curfew, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We have a curfew at a couple of our properties. We have guard checks, and we even are now to the point where if somebody comes up and says, I'm visiting my mother, here's her name, here's her phone number, she's in apartment 206, you can't get in unless that mother, that resident, comes out to the guard check and escorts you in.
Okay.
And the reason for this is because I learned firsthand, as I said, by living on the property, although I kind of already knew it, that the high traffic, the invited and guests are the main dominant sources of crime.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we've got our properties down to where the most of the leftover crime is somebody calls 911 because they kicked out their boyfriend and they came back and tried to get their stuff, and the door was locked and they kicked in the door, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's people who know people and who don't have good friends, and most of those friends tend to be the kind that are coming and going at all hours of the night. Yeah. So we really discourage that.
So that's helped. Let me ask you this, because one of the things that came to my mind, and have you thought about? Has there been any ramifications or any issues with someone who, because you have this dress code now, are now decrying and saying, this isn't just a dress code, this is discrimination? Has that been an issue at all?
I'm sure somebody is gonna jump on that claim and try to milk it, but I don't think it carries water.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, as we know, being in the field of property management, there are protected classes that our government tells us we need to understand and respect. There is no protected class of sloppiness, is there?
and no, and this is private property, and just like restaurants going to have dress codes, so can we.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this? How long has this been instituted now in the properties that you own?
Less than a week.
Just less than a week. Okay.
Just less than a week.
All right.
And already it's getting publicity, and like you calling from Minnesota. So I really think that this is a trend that's gonna go nationwide.
Well, I think there is something to this, and again, for me, when I heard it. It is a matter of sometimes just helping people and helping young folks know and understand what it means just to be a good citizen and how to relate to one another. And I think having some standards like this teaches people to have respect for themselves. And when they have more of a respect for themselves, they have a respect for the others around them and a respect for the property where they live. And I think that's what you're seeing. Isn't that true?
That's true. I couldn't agree with you more. I think as a country, we went through a period where we were bending over backwards to try to be tolerant and accepting. And I'm all for tolerance and acceptance, but you can't just agree that there's no right or wrong, that there's no good and evil, there's no bad.
Yeah.
You can't emphasize the good and forget that there's also bad. And as a nation, I hope and I want to be part of a trend toward saying, "Oh yeah, this is good. This is a good thing. And we're gonna insist on it."
Yeah.
Tolerance is important, but insisting on good is also is actually more important.
Yeah.
It's more important to the survival of our society, being aware of what's good about this place and emphasizing it, talking about it, being proud of it, and in this case, enforcing it.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think you may be onto something here. Steve, thanks so much for taking some time to be with me on the show today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Call me back anytime. Maybe, as I said, we got our properties really safe, and most of that was by identifying the.
I'll do that. I'll check back.
It.
I'll check back with you again, folks. That was Steve Moore from Houston, Texas. Hey, don't go away. We've got a lot more of Where You Live after these messages.